A test that helps doctors determine whether pregnant women are in premature labour will no longer be available. The company that makes rapid fetal fibronectin tests will stop selling them from the end of next month. Doctors say pregnant women in rural and remote Australia will be left most at risk. National Regional Affairs reporter Lucy Barber joins us now. Lucy, firstly, can you talk us through how this test actually works?
Sure thing, Gemma. So the test is basically a way for doctors to determine whether when a woman presents to a GP or a hospital with what appear to be contractions, whether that is in fact early labour or whether it might be instead something like Braxton Hicks contractions or an irritable uterus or even gastro, which means she wouldn't be in early labour. So the test is a swab. It's inserted inside the woman and that swab is then placed on a little cassette, which looks a bit like a COVID test. That cassette is then put inside a machine and the machine returns a numeric reading. So if the number that comes back for the medical team is low, it means the woman is not in early labour. If the number is high or really high, it means she could have a baby imminently or within the next week or two. So the key thing there is the number, the reading that the doctors can get.
Lucy, your story says there are other tests available. Why is this one so important?
Yeah, that's right. Well, as I said, the key thing is the numeric reading. So this test is quantitative, not qualitative. It provides that numeric reading. So if you're in a rural or remote area, for example, and you are a doctor performing this test on a woman, she doesn't have any other symptoms, but she does appear to be contracting, and that test then gives you a really high reading, but you've got no other symptoms to show she's in labour, that tells you that this woman needs to be evacuated immediately because she could give birth any day now or any hour even. So it means doctors, midwives, nurses can then triage that woman in conjunction with medical or emergency transport services above other patients who might not be as urgent. And that woman would then be evacuated to a city hospital where there would be a neonatal intensive care unit, which is crucial for a preemie baby because while doctors and teams in rural and regional areas, for example, might have the skills to look after premature babies, they don't always have the equipment necessary. And that equipment is so crucial to ensuring better outcomes and even survival for babies when they're born early.
Why has the company stopped making the test?
The company has written to medical communities around the world. It wrote to them back in July, basically saying, we've tried everything, we've looked at this, but for various reasons, we need to stop making it. The only reason that Hologic, the US-based company, actually specified was that there was variable supply of raw materials which are used to make the device. So that's the only clear reason we've got. We have contacted Hologic for comment. We don't have a response yet. Doctors, or some doctors, are sceptical about that reasoning. They feel that perhaps this is more about economics and that this cost, the cost of making the product, the device, the rapid fetal fibronectin test just doesn't stack up and it's just not profitable enough.
And will we see a rise in premature births in the regions?
It's a good question. It's a possibility. Some doctors have said yes, it's definitely a possibility, but I think from the information I've gathered in my research on this, that would be overstating it because doctors in particularly where I've been looking for this story in rural and regional and remote areas, if a woman does appear to be in early labour, their priority is at all costs getting her to a hospital where she and the baby can have the best possible outcome. What that means is that they will be more likely, without a reliable test, they will be more likely to err on the side of caution. And where a test previously may have said, okay, this woman isn't likely to give birth in the next 2 weeks, they would be comfortable keeping her at home in her community with her family. In future, without that test available, they'd be more likely to go, oh, we're not sure, so let's not risk it. Let's send her to the city hospital to avoid all risk. That will then put further strain on already stretched emergency transport systems and services. So you can imagine that they're dealing with a whole lot of patients already. This is going to increase their load. So that's a big concern at the moment.
National Regional Affairs reporter Lucy Barber, thank you. And for more on that story, you can get Lucy's online story on the ABC News app or at our website on news.abc.net.au.